talk as
Linda,
loud
four,
either.
four, and I won't be 4 and 11.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll be out in Montana.
Get you on Zoom.
Yes, it's recording.
all right.
Good.
All right, we're going to open and call to order the meeting for August 21st of the Charter Commission for the town of Harwich. We have almost a full quorum. The only person not here is Tony. That was really for our minutes taker. Okay, we have the approval for the regular minutes of August 14th.
Move to approve?
Second.
Any changes, any corrections? All right. All those vote to approve?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. 8-0. Continuing business. Under number 3. We're still, I know that there are a couple of committees in town that are having a charter discussion on their agenda. The Finance Committee is next door as we speak, having that conversation about what they would like to give to us as potential ideas and thoughts, which is good. Our consultant, I did send the,
Just a point,
yes.
the Stark District is going to discuss it next month at the
Okay.
meeting, and the capital outlay is meeting tomorrow to
Yep.
discuss it.
so I know, I know that there are several of them out there, so that's
Okay.
good. Historic District is great, capital outlay, good for the Finance Committee, and I think there are others that are coming up. And I'm hoping that the water waste, the water commissioners do the same thing. I think you said they were going to at some
We
point.
already addressed it at our last meeting that we would be addressing it.
Yep.
I mean, put it in the future and,
Excellent.
just would request that it be later if possible.
Sure.
Doing other stuff.
So I think that people are starting to come through. I haven't heard from Tony. I don't think anything has come through our email yet. But whatever somebody talks to you about, bring it to the table. Okay, Collins Center. I did send an email to Mr. Wilson from the Edward J. Collins Junior Center for Public Management. That's a mouthful. And that we would like to hire them. I did ask the questions that this committee had asked, which were, would they be attending community meetings? Are the 18 meetings in person, some Zoom? What are examples of tasks that would not be covered? His response was attendance at community meetings. We generally do not participate in community meetings. They do review the feedback. Second one, number and format of meetings. 18 meetings is a mix of in-person and Zoom. They plan to attend the first meeting once they sign, a contract is signed. They will attend the first one, we'll all get to know each other and have a conversation of what we're trying to do, et cetera, and what information we've been looking at. And tasks not covered. The scope of services does not include legal advice, which I think we knew, leading community outreach, though we can provide advice and sample approaches, and they're not going to conduct any surveys. If we want to do any surveys, that's on us. So it sounded reasonable, and so I asked him, based on the vote of this commission, to put together a contract. So I expect to see that shortly. Yes, sir.
Your response on the mix of in-person and Zoom,
Yes.
is there clarification still?
No, it's just that his response is the 18 meetings include a mix of in-person and Zoom sessions depending on the team's availability. So there will be some Zoom, there will be some in-person.
Agreement.
Would they specify more in the contract?
If we want more than the 18 meetings, which is in the contract, it'll cost us more money.
No, more definition of the,
The
Well, let's-
presence here or Zoom.
We could request half be in person. I'm just throwing out a number.
I
Or
think,
1/3, or, I don't know.
well, let us see, I mean, he does say, depending on the team's availability. This isn't the only thing they're doing. So I think that if the team are working on stuff and can't meet every Thursday to drive down here and drive back, even though it's an hour, hour and a half, it's still, they may not always have the ability to be here, which is great, because we have screens and everything else.
Could I recommend, when you look at the contract, I would like to have them here at least monthly, 1 out of every 4 meetings,
I think that's fair.
and that we can, as we go through like tonight's exercise of looking at chapter 3 and 4, as we aggregate the concerns, changes, whatever, that we have them here every 4th meeting to say, okay, let's talk about where we're at right now.
I think that's reasonable.
Yeah.
When I get the contract in, who else would like to read it? I'd like Sandy to read it,
I'd love to read
Vice
it.
Chair. Okay, so we've got a couple of people who will read the contract, look at it, because I don't want to be the only person on the hook for this.
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
Because
Personal
I'm
liability.
chicken.
See,
A thought, and it doesn't need to be answered right now, but just to make note, since they are not doing the community meetings, should we as a body consider hiring a facilitator for the community meetings and/or any kind of survey? I'm a huge believer in.
I'm absolutely in tune with that. I think that it's hard to be at a community meeting, monitoring it, running it, and listening,
Getting everybody engaged.
and getting people,
Yeah.
I think, yes, I think that the community meetings, that if we can find somebody who will facilitate, it's not gonna cost a lot, or,
What are we facilitating exactly?
Facilitator will come into a meeting like that and they really engage the community and they have their tricks, if you will, their experience of getting people to speak up. If there are any kind of antagonistic conversations that come up, they're very good at diffusing them, and it keeps a separation between this group and the general audience.
we can consider that as we get, because, I think-
I'm not enthusiastic about that, but
okay,
Linda,
yes, sir.
I'd like us to think about something. We've met 7 or 8 times now. 9 times? Wow. And the ideas,
Well, maybe,
well, we've missed a few. Well, the ideas have flown freely. There's been a lot of ideas. The consultant, in my opinion, is going to be incredibly valuable on the back end. After we have done some of the thinking through the issues, after we've gotten the public comments, after it's some rough drafts, and making sure that it's written correctly, not legally, that's a different issue, but correctly, so that we're saying what we think we're saying. So if we front load all their time and have them come to these kind of meetings, then we have a lot more expenses on the back end, because we're gonna need it. That's just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, that's the point that they made to me when I talked to both the director, and to the gentleman that'll be our contact. He prefers to be a bigger player in the back end of the process.
And
And I think that'll be the case. There's no reason not to be. I'm just curious, did we ever hear from Charlie Sumner?
Never, this is the only one we heard from.
Only one.
we voted last week. to
No, I
build
saw
the
that, yeah, but I
Mike-
didn't know.
The
It
answer
wasn't an
is
indication
no.
we received from anybody, so.
But I think he just took a position,
He did.
Yeah.
somebody brought it up.
HCT.
Yeah.
Your point, I think, is well taken. And I think we don't need to have them here at every one of these meetings that we have. But if we have them here present once every 4 meetings, and we need them, every meeting the last 3 months or 2 months, that's great. But I think once every 4 meetings, it would be great so we're not giving them all this information after a year.
yeah,
but I don't think they need to be at
No,
every
they'll-
one of those
We're
meetings.
saying the same things.
Okay.
I prefer on an as-needed basis,
Yeah.
only because I hate to be nailed down to one in every 4, one in every
Yeah.
3. As needed, when we feel that they need to be here, that they need to listen, and we might need some guidance, or, yeah.
The only reason I do like one every 4, it holds our,
Yeah, I
it
agree.
it holds us,
Attention.
right,
Yeah.
it holds us accountable, saying, they're coming next week,
That's
and we've
fine.
done this, 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 and this, where do we need the guidance? It
And
holds
I-
us accountable, is what I find.
And I also think that as we go through our meetings, if the question comes up, how do other towns do whatever it is, then I'm gonna send this guy an email and say, these are the things they're talking about,
Right.
we'd like some guide,
Yeah.
be prepared to give us some guidance on such and thus.
And that was what they, in their proposal,
Right.
they said that they would be available between meetings to have those discussions with you.
And so I think that that kind of solves some of
Yeah.
that, because if we're thinking about, we're not quite sure how to do something, give us some guidance on this specific thing. So
And
I
Lou, what I
think
don't-
that we can be doing that.
What I don't want to see happen is we do just add as needed, and then Linda calls, says, hey, we'd like you here, a week from Thursday. Oh, we're all booked, we
I'm
can't
not
come.
on any.
Yeah.
What I'm wondering,
Let me just-
what we maybe should be doing is, if you want to schedule them roughly once a month, and we take the sections as we are one by one, and we aim to have some kind of, maybe a rough draft of the things that we've agreed that we want to do, ready for that meeting that he's
Right.
there for.
Yeah.
It also kind of holds us into some kind of cohesive, so, we've been talking about selectmen and administrators, so we want him here September, 29th. By the 28th, maybe we have some language, rough language drafted, at least as far as, that we've all agreed to, this is what we understand we
Makes
want to
sense.
do,
Makes sense.
and have it ready.
Okay,
Is community meeting the same as the public hearings?
Here.
yes, that's a
Yeah.
community hearing.
Yeah, and I think it's on us to run our own meetings. We're elected to do this job. I don't see the necessity of hiring somebody to facilitate. I think we can handle that. Well, Linda can, anyway.
Nice, nice. How's
She's
it
gonna be
feel?
absent.
I would agree.
Thank you.
I mean, it's,
That could be a
weird
first,
task,
you know?
and that's assuming there's gonna be an avalanche of participants.
Well, I
Right.
mean, it was
And-
at our first one.
Right,
We
and
were
have
overwhelmed.
somebody paid to do that. But the point I wanted to make
Yes, sir.
earlier was, these guys are, remember, they're academic people, and they're experienced, obviously, in town administration matters, but from an academic standpoint, and they enjoy the aspect of researching topics and providing background information, studies, and that's what their nature is. So asking them to respond on a certain issue is right down their alley. That's something they want to do. And from my discussions, I got the impression that the first 6 months or so is kind of setting the table. It's more toward the last part of the system that they'll appear to be more interested in being more hands-on. So I don't think we have to worry about we're running out of time or having to pay more money to get them down here more often. We can schedule it, and with what we're talking about, I think they'll be in total concert with.
Well, and even if we needed more money for them, we're well
Right.
under
Yeah,
what
I
was budgeted. And that's, so there's plenty of room, not that you want to throw it away, but certainly
Right.
have it to use if we need
Right.
to.
But we don't want to look conflict, right? I mean, we don't
You
look
know,
like we just...
sorry? I couldn't hear you.
Me?
Yeah,
I'm just saying, we don't want to look too conflagrate in terms of spending of idle cash.
No,
If
I
we-
think-
If we don't need to, let's,
I think we owe it to the taxpayers to be appropriately sending the funds.
right.
And if I don't take it as we're gonna spend every penny of that $150,000, because this isn't free cash where we spend every penny every year. But if we don't spend it, we give it back to the community to spend on something else. But I think that's our job.
Plus, we're gonna be printing.
Huh?
We'll be
And
printing, and that's
we've got to print
expensive.
it and mail it to people and all that, so there are other expenses that'll come up. Richard?
I just, if we could take out of order of the
Sir.
agenda, public comment, we do have someone from the public here, so they don't have to stay till the end of the meeting if they
Okay.
wish to
How about
participate.
we finish this discussion?
yeah.
We done with it?
No, I got a good question.
One question
So you get 18 meetings
from them.
from them. What about research and questions we have outside the meetings?
That's all included in this price
But-
tag.
But how much time do we, I mean, do we
They're,
call them once a week for 3 or 4 hours to research something? There's
They're-
gotta be a limit on that somehow.
I think they are assuming, I'm gonna take a wag here, a wild ass guess, and say that I'm assuming that these are professionals. They have given us a proposal that they have probably said 18 meetings is so many hours, therefore so many dollars. Our experience with all these other groups have been, this is a town that has an established charter, so they're looking for some changes, they're not looking for a complete rewrite, they're not starting from scratch, like happened in the 80s. Therefore, they have probably said in their planning, we're gonna spend probably this many hours doing research and this, that, and the other thing, and that casts out to their proposal. They've got that in there somewhere built. Otherwise, they'd be telling us that there is no top end, and they're gonna charge us X dollars every time we pick up a phone.
Well, that's what I'm
Probably-
concerned about. I
Probably
mean,
much of their research is information they have already researched and already have at their fingertips.
Well, that's good,
Anyway,
but
yeah.
I'd like to see a quantified hour on that research.
I don't think they're gonna give us that.
Point of order, Madam Chair,
Sure.
we already voted the contract,
Yes, we did.
subject to you reviewing the contract. Let's wait till we get the contract, have 3 people look at it, we can bring it back and discuss. Otherwise, we have a lot of work to do under chapters 3 and 4 tonight.
I will,
I just wanna know how many, what we're getting for 38,000. I know we're getting 18 meetings.
but
Well,
that's-
if they're working on an academic schedule, as Paul suggested, then it's probably, if you're preparing to teach a class, it's usually about 5 hours per 1 hour of teaching.
Well, that's a good rule of thumb.
Yeah.
That's all I want, that's all I'm asking for.
Yeah.
But
I'm
Maybe
not
it's
su-
3 hours, but, yeah.
But I'm not sure that that's gonna be laid out in the contract. We're gonna do 18 meetings at an hour apiece, we're gonna do 22 and a half hours of research, et cetera. I don't think that's gonna be laid out in the contract.
If there are concerns about the contract, we'll be back to the whole.
Yeah,
board.
don't worry.
No, just $38,000 for 18 meetings seems awful expensive.
18 meetings and all the
We
research.
had this discussion last week.
We did, we had this
No, we didn't
discussion.
qualify the research time yet. No one's given me a time on
Okay.
research, questions outside the meetings. That's all I'm asking is, how much time do we get for that?
I think you'll see that when we get the
That's
contract.
Easy, no,
We get-
easy question to ask.
We'll
Okay.
ask it, I'm not sure we're gonna get an
Yeah,
answer to that.
okay.
Okay. All right,
You can
taking,
couch it in hourly rates and what do you get and how much is included.
okay. We're gonna take something out of order. Does the public, the esteemed public, have anything they'd like to say to us?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'll probably regret saying this, but I plan on trying to stay for the entire meeting. I want to thank Mr. Waystack for taking this out of order, but I'll take this opportunity to say thank you to all of you. I've watched all your meetings. I think you're on the right path. I'm thrilled you're doing it. Good discussion. And I'm happy I had the opportunity tonight to not have another meeting, which allows me to be here tonight to be a part of this and listen and learn about where you guys are all going. So, thank you all.
Okay,
Thank you for coming.
all right,
Pleasure to be here, Lynn.
and thank you for
How
coming.
much did you pay him for that?
I'm not telling.
I didn't hear that.
I asked her how much she paid you.
He probably had to pay us to come. Okay, going back to chapters 3 and chapters 4 of the charter. Chapter 3 for the public is the select board. Chapter 4 is the town administrator. And last week, just to round up, we had talked about the authorities and the responsibilities, making sure that they're clear in the charter between the select board and a town administrator. That we had a proper organization chart, that we had, I think Sandy did it quite well. She said we shouldn't be building walls in the charter, we should be building guardrails. so that people stay reasonably within their lanes as much as possible. Stay in your lane of both the select board and the town administrator. I think we talked about something that we're going to talk about a little more today, which is the hiring. The select board currently hires a half dozen roles. But I think we need to continue that conversation as, regardless of who hires the person, who is the person to whom that hire is responsible to in the chain of command, in effect, does that personnel review. So I think those are the things we talked about last week. We're all going to read the charter again, again, chapters 3 and 4, and continue the conversation, because these are probably the two key sections other than finance and capital outlay. Sir?
In starting out, if you go to chapter 3, section 2-3, it's one of the things that I've seen over the years.
What page you on there, sir?
Page C5,
Thank you.
third paragraph down. And actually, it's the second sentence. But starting with the first sentence, the select board shall serve as the chief policy-making agency of the town, and as such, shall not normally administer the day-to-day affairs of the town. Now, we're gonna have a very extensive definition page, and I'd love to know what not normally means. I would love to see that say, get rid of that word normally and have shall not administer the day-to-day affairs of the town.
And continuing that sentence, but shall instead regularly direct the town administrator. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Do we not have a specification somewhere in here that in the absence of a town administrator, a member of the Board of Selectmen may be appointed?
There is a clause in here, that's further down.
I would then add to that, except as provided in chapter, whatever spot it's in.
And I would be very specific with it, Sandy, just to say is unless, and spell it out, unless a member of the select board is acting as the interim town administrator, or whatever word we got, they're still fighting with acting, interim, whatever it's gonna be. Let's put in the charter.
Did you?
Interim, acting, interim, acting.
Well, either way, you have to make allowance for that one little carve out.
That's fine.
Probably will never happen, but it's, unless you make that a non-starter too, so.
I think before we start dealing with that, I might want to pull it back a little bit. The hiring determines a lot of the issues. If it's determined that the town doesn't want the board involved in the hiring process, that's up to the TA. That sets a standard for the board not directly going to employees and telling them this is what we'd like to have done or whatever, if that happens. So we have to start, we have to build a structure.
I have no problem, I want that mentioned in the minutes, because I want to come back to that. That, to me, is, I believe, one of the issues that we've had in this town. Defining the roles, defining the lanes, creating the guardrails. How do you act? Who do you hire? Who are you responsible to? What is the true organizational chart of the town? So, and I think if you're getting back to that discussion, let's open it up. Who hires who?
I think that's where we should start, rather than, and Sandy, I'll look for that citation, the
Yeah.
acting TA. I know it's in here somewhere,
It
but I
is, yeah.
can't,
It-
I don't know where it is.
I think it might be chapter 4.
Might be chapter 4, okay. But at any rate, right now, in the charter, the select board appoints, the town administrator appoints, and that's the words that used, appoints. Doesn't say supervise, it doesn't say personnel review, it says appoints. Town administrator, town council, fire chief, police chief, the board of assessors.
Sorry, where are you on that?
Yeah, 410, right, I have it.
410-2,
Yep.
chapter 4, section 10-2, okay.
Section 4, that's what she's talking about, whether upon resignation or suspension. or firing of a town administrator, that a town employee, member of the select board, or other person could become the acting or interim.
Yep, okay,
Yeah.
so that just kind of, let's put that on the parking lot for the
Yep.
time being. Judith, page C5, 2 paragraphs above what Richard was just referring to. 3-2-1. No, excuse me, not that one. Sorry.
4.
Chapter 6, section, page 6, section 6, powers of appointment for the select board. Select board appoints the town administrator, town council, the town accountant, or we now have a finance director.
Finance director, police chief, fire
Police-
chief, assessors.
Assessors, the assessors themselves, members of a board of registrars of voters, election officers, and constables. So those are, and also there's one more that we passed at this recent town meeting that has passed muster with the Commonwealth, Human Resources.
Just point of clarification, power to appoint, remove, is that different than hiring, or is that hiring?
That's hiring.
That's hiring.
Like, okay, so it's not saying that the TA hires first and then they formally make an appointment.
Well, within the charter, the town administrator hires people, and the select board has X number of days to either say okay or no way.
So that's
So
what
this
the
is-
word appoint means here.
It is. The
Okay.
select board is the appointing authority, the hiring authority for those roles.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And question both who have served as that then Board of Selectmen. Did either of you ever do a review of your police chief, fire chief, finance director?
Nope.
I don't remember.
You mean yearly reviews?
Correct.
Did we do a review?
Nope, I never did. 6 years on the board, no.
I'd like to say no, but I don't remember clearly. It's been a while, About a minute.
The question could also be, who is qualified to do a review of the fire chief?
Well, I
Well,
think,
my
I
only
think
point
that,
being, if you
but that's the
hire,
point.
right, if I'm hiring you, Lou, whether I'm qualified or not, if I'm hiring you, it is my responsibility right now, it should be, that I'm reviewing how you act
your
in the best
performance.
interest of the town, and how are you performing for the town. I don't know if that has occurred. You both sat on the board.
I would say that we never, I spent 6 years on the board. I do not recall us ever reviewing any of these people, members of the assessors, the registrars. I don't remember us ever doing that.
Madam Chair, can I ask out of order?
Sure.
We do have a member of the public here who currently sits on the board. Could I ask that person a question through you?
Knock yourself out.
Better repeat it.
Please.
In your time on the board the last couple of years, have you, because you have appointed a police chief, has the board, not you, I apologize for saying you, has the board done a formal review of that police chief or the fire chief or the finance director?
No.
Okay, thank you.
So the answer is no.
Okay.
So let us have the conversation, which is, there's a point, and I'm not gonna go through right now, should the town administrator appoint the fire chief, et cetera, and all these other people? Or should the select board do it? That's one question. The second question is should this be, the select board will appoint these people, these positions, and these positions will report directly to the town administrator.
That's preferred in my view.
And there are certain things in here that shouldn't go to the town administrator. Maybe the select board will appoint these positions, and these people will report directly to the select board, like the assessors,
Darn Board of Assessors.
the darn board of assessors, the board of registrars, the election officials, officers, and I'm not even sure why the select board is appointing constables. But
Moderator used to appoint, I don't know when that changed, but.
change at some
Was it
point.
50 years ago that changed?
50 years ago, it changed. I used to appoint the constables. I'll tell you who I appointed.
Well, That was 50 years ago, we're now.
Right. No, I understand, but
So is that-
consideration
You
would
must be,
be,
you must be the reason the change was made.
maybe,
Probably
made bad appointments.
is. Okay, so do we want to have an appointment process? Still have the select board appoint certain roles? That's a yes or, no, but we'll get to the yes or no on that. But specify that those people report to the town administrator for the day-to-day stuff and the personnel review and et cetera, et cetera.
Let me just
Go
ask you
ahead.
a question on that point, and that is, do we know if in this charter there is not a reference under the town administrator that requires them to, in fact, report to them, or the town
Not really.
administrator conduct a review?
Nothing that I've
No,
read
no.
has that.
Do we know that?
Well, yeah, I've been reading through this, which
Yeah, I know.
everybody should have been
I've
done.
been reading through it, but I don't
I
have
don't-
the answer definitively.
Don't believe so. But whether there's a reference to that or not, because I don't believe there is,
Well, if
I don't
there
think
is a
there is.
reference to it, then it would seem to resolve the
well, then why don't you check for the reference?
Well, it might take some time to go through
Go
all
ahead.
of the town
I'm
administrators'
trying to think through
responsibilities here.
Lou?
To me, a very important question that needs to be answered. If we have a strong town administrator to relieve some of the burdens of the select board, or to give them different burdens,
A strong town administrator.
Right.
Okay.
is strong, then, and if one of the primary roles of the select board is to hire and fire the TA, the question that I have is, how difficult is it in practicality, if necessary, if they had that authority to fire the TA?
Who's they? Be careful on
The
they.
The board,
Could be it.
Okay.
okay?
I think that makes sense.
That, to me, is a key question, because it sets up the whole organization, because if I'm a select person right now, and I know that my number one authority is I can terminate that individual,
Why are you pointing at me?
Because you're on the block.
yeah, you already are
The
terminated.
firing line.
Okay, and if that's my number, and I know I can do that, that impacts how I,
Yes, it does.
Okay.
That's why we're going to,
Right.
do you separate the hiring process, the appointment process,
On the
from
review.
from the chain of command process?
I don't think you do.
So I'm hearing,
I agree with you. I don't think you do either.
That's right.
I don't think you can. If I hire you,
You being who?
if I'm hiring a finance director, a
As a
police chief,
select board?
or a fire chief, if I'm a
Yeah,
select
yeah,
board
yeah.
member, and I am hiring one of those division directors,
Yep.
and now they are responsible to a town administrator who reviews them, at some point you say, I don't care, you don't hire me, fire me.
well, that has been somewhat of a conversation
it
that the
has.
finance director has,
Yeah.
past finance directors. I don't have to report to the town administrator because I got hired by the select board, so I don't care what
It
they
just,
do.
to go back to Paul's point, he does make a point, it's not until chapter 5 that we find it. And it's page 11, section 51-4.
At least this could be tightened, but I think that's the thread.
So, because that's your point, responsibility for the functions administered within the several divisions
And departments.
and departments shall be vested in the town administrator unless otherwise provided by general laws or this charter,
Or the bylaws.
or the bylaws. So I think we do need to be specific in how we're going to do that in making a recommendation, very specifically what that responsibility is.
I absolutely agree.
And
Because this doesn't tell me, if this is the reference, that doesn't tell me who the police chief reports to,
Okay,
unless otherwise provided, because it's not provided somewhere else. Regardless of what the charter said, don't get caught up in the language that is sitting there. Think concept. Do you want the select board to be hiring fire chief, department heads, because the board of registrars and the constable, they aren't department heads. Do you want the select board, do you want to propose that the select board not hire those department heads and they all get hired by the town administrator?
Can I ask?
Go ahead.
So historically, what was the reason? What was the reason historically for the way it's been set up?
Sandy, you might have the best crack at this.
What was the reason historically?
That the select board specifically was the hiring body for those particular.
group.
Versus a TA hiring everybody.
It's a great question, and you're, I think, given the unique nature of both of those departments and the unique responsibilities and duties that they have, it was probably felt, or trying to go into the Wayback Machine, that they would be better equipped to deal with their own staff and their own hiring.
That's the police chief.
Basically subject to the approval of the Board of Selectmen. But the fire chief hires without any approval.
That's true. But we're
And
just
that's
talking.
John, that's the strong chief.
That's the strong chief.
That's the strong chief language.
But that comes from the state, I mean, that,
Yes.
Some of it
that's like a
does, and we need
statewide
to look at
initiative.
the general
Yeah.
laws.
But that was adopted by the town, though.
Right.
Although the state allowed for it, the town approved it.
Yes,
But
it did.
can I-
We had
can
an
I have-
article on
Can I have a
that,
second here?
certainly.
Under town administrator, page 8, E, it sort of tangentially addresses this
E,
in the nature of keeping the select board informed
Yep.
regarding all departmental operations, fiscal affairs, general problems, and administrative actions. It would not be difficult to add to that the select board would review both, the town administrator would review the direct hires of the Board of Selectmen and report that to them too. I would put it right there.
but regardless of where you put it, we're still at I'm still trying to bring
No,
us
I
up
get that.
here.
Yeah.
What do you want to propose? Do you want to propose that all the hiring, well, for department heads, is done by the town administrator, and the town administrator is the one that is the day-to-day? Because, seriously, Lou, as a financial person, I've had IT. Now, what I know about IT could fit on the head of a pin with 47 dancing angels. But I still had to manage that department and review that person. So that's what you do as a boss.
Right. I
So,
understand.
but I'm just saying, do you want to propose that? Okay,
Our question is, I would anticipate that the original creation of this was because the Board of Selectmen, or the Select Board, are elected. And as an elected official, they're appointing the members of the hierarchy, let's say, of the town administration. From the town administrator on down, police chief, fire chief, finance director, and so forth. So there's a responsibility to the voters, who are the ultimate authority here, in that they elect those people that get selected. But one of their appointees is the town administrator, and the town administrator is clearly tasked with the day-to-day operations in monitoring the operations of these appointed officials. And so I think it's only proper that the select board, because their authority rests with the public, makes the choice. But in terms of their role in saying.
choice of which positions?
Choice
Be
of all,
specific.
of the key positions in the town. Department heads, division heads, whatever, that
So you-
level of
I just want to make sure I understand you. You're saying that the select board should be appointing all the department heads?
No, the key division
The
manager.
key
Right,
people.
right.
Okay.
The
Police,
fi-
fire.
The ones that are listed here, the
Okay.
finance director, the police chief, the fire chief, the people that
Yep,
tend to interact more with the public. But to me, it's a pretty clear statement that because the select board is elected, and because the power vests with the people out there, it doesn't vest with the select board, the people select the select board, and the power should be with the people in terms of the ultimate constitutional role or a charter role or whatever. So to me, it makes sense that the select board will select these people. But in terms of monitoring, that shouldn't be the role of the select board. They don't want to get down into the weeds to determine, is this fella doing a good job or not doing a good job? That's the job or the role of the person who's in control of the day-to-day operations that is happening in the town and in each department within the town. So I think it's appropriate that he would conduct
Or
the
she.
review, or she would conduct the review of the finance
And
director.
be careful with the pronouns, just the town, so in your, I think what you're saying, because there's too many she's and he's and hers and thems. So you're saying that the select board would continue appointing those specific positions and adding words to the charter that said the responsibility for the people that are being appointed by the select board would be reporting to the town, well, some of them would be reporting to the town administrator. I think that's what you're saying.
I wouldn't say that isn't here, but I agree with you that it could be better defined. But I think that's what this charter is saying,
I don't
in
think,
terms of those sections.
personally, I don't think the charter says
Well,
that
that's a
these,
debatable point, but
which is why we're trying to make this charter
but
language as tight as possible and as clear as possible,
Well,
because it
yeah.
doesn't say that.
Well, okay, I agree, and I would agree that we could tighten the language to try to make it more clear, but there'll always be people who will be able to sort of carve out some other definitions.
Go ahead, Sandy.
I agree with you. I don't see any need to change the appointing authorities in this charter. I do, however, think that we need to clarify that once appointed, who the day-to-day supervisor is. But I think the finance director, for sure, should be available to the select board in a way that they wouldn't necessarily be under a town administrator, and we've seen that roadblock put up.
Yeah.
And I, honestly, just as a broad statement, I'm not interested in, unless really convinced otherwise, in putting any additional power into the hands of a town administrator. I don't think that will
No,
go
it-
over very well, and I don't think it would be to the best interest of the town, at least the town body of employees and what have you. I think there has to be, I think what we need to do is define the guardrails, not the roadblocks.
You know, the one thing I didn't complete, I guess, was the fact that at the tail end of this is the fact that the select board is in the position to get rid of the town administrator. And that kind of cements, completes the circle, in that they start the process, turn it over to this individual to monitor, and if this individual is doing a poor job, they're in the position as the ultimate to replace that. I mean, I think it's
That
a
brings
neater
you-
circle.
That brings you around to a whole other problem, is that the process for removing a town administrator under the charter is somewhat draconian. And maybe we need to make it a little easier.
Oh, sorry,
Okay,
Mickey.
That's another-
that's not this discussion.
That's enough.
So I want to keep
But-
people
but it is-
focused.
But it is, because
But
it-
hold the thought, but the focus of this discussion is, and it is, so we'll bring that up at a later point when it's more appropriate,
you said so.
because I said so, and
Yeah,
I have the
she's the chair.
tiara.
Where's the gavel?
But I'm trying to make sure everybody gets focused, because keep in mind, the Patriots are playing tonight, and I'm out of here at 10 minutes of 8.
Where is your priority, Madam
Where's
Chair?
my
Can I ask a
priority?
question in
And I
reference
do
to that?
need to leave.
Home first.
I got it. Go ahead.
What is the value of having the police chief and others report to the Board of Selectmen?
No.
No value.
No.
Okay, but that's what I'm trying to look for. Is
But
there
they
a
hire
value?
them.
That's why.
But they
he reports to
hire.
the administrator.
But
Day to day. And it's-
Day to day.
and it
I
says
understand,
all-
I get it.
We're not.
Time, one at a time.
What I see is this. The responsibility of our government lies in the people.
Correct.
I agree with you 100%. That responsibility is given to the board, the select.
Correct.
Or women.
Peeps.
The peeps.
The conflicts that arise occur after that point between select boards and town administrators because of lack of clarity, because people will be people. And so guardrails prevent, to some degree, people from being people. I would have a hard time staying in the lane of not picking up the phone if I were a selectman and calling Department of Public Works and saying, hey, I need this. I want you to do this. People will be people.
They're gonna fill out-
And,
We need to put guardrails to stop that
and
I-
quite frankly, the guardrails are not
in here.
in there.
Right.
The guardrails are going to be your fellow select people that smack you on the nose and say, cut that out.
But they don't.
But they don't.
That's right.
So that's why we need the guard, and the words need to be clear.
And the process needs to be
member
clear.
on station here and see
And
if
so-
that really is,
And so to make
case.
it clean, from my vision at least, and what I see, if one person is responsible for hiring everyone, the town is responsible through the vote of hiring, the town administrator is hired by the select board, everyone else reports to the select board, or to the town administrator, with an overview from the select board that has that primary machine gun that says, you know, here's our system. You've been warned that our oversight says in this manner, you haven't performed. And in 2 weeks, bam, something else happens.
Okay? Just to
I'm
keep.
jumping ahead, I'm
But
sorry.
no, but just to make it clear, the town administrator is on a contract. And if the select board has every right to terminate a town administrator, but more than likely will have to pay the contract out.
Right.
So this isn't business where you hire people, they're all employees at will. Keep that in mind. They're not all employees at will.
But contracts are annual, aren't they?
No, they're not.
How long
Select
do we
board
have?
has been 3 years. I think fire chief, police chief, I think this is like 3 years.
So we have 18 months. So by the end of 18 months, we would, if we decided to change, it would only be less than a year for them when they write a new contract.
It's not right.
No?
No.
We have 18 months to get it to the ballot.
Yep.
It'll go into effect on the 1st of July of that year. Most of these changes probably won't even be noticeable until the following budget season. So you're talking,
3 years.
Okay.
So there's a
Back,
contract that
okay,
can be changed.
back to the topic at hand. Yes, ma'am.
So, in a TA's contract, are you telling me that there are not outs for the town if a TA does not meet X, Y, and Z?
You looking at me or Paul?
you're asking me?
I can't tell.
I say yes, there are, that
There
they
are.
can remove him. That's
both
it. They don't have to
Without
renew a
having to
contract.
pay the whole
I
contract.
think it was just
Well-
convenient that the contract was coming due,
Have-
but the
But
town
without-
administrator can be removed.
Without having to pay the rest of the contract.
The answer
Well,
is yes and no. It's
That,
gonna all
I'd say he's
depend.
entitled to his contract.
it depends on the.
There is
No,
a-
I'm saying
but I
is
don't-
if a
Richard.
town administrator is given a 3-year contract in January,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden, come May, they do something that,
Well, no, you write into the contract that if there's
Yeah.
mischief going on,
For cause.
whatever,
For
where the
cause.
fellow is, or the woman is performing wrongly,
Right.
illegally, then they're not entitled to that contract pay.
so that's
Remove.
clear in every contract. But
Right.
if they're not meeting whatever expectations,
Right.
as opposed, well,
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where we're going. We're talking about expectations, not bad behavior.
Yes, we're talking about expectations,
Performance.
not bad behavior. We're
Performance.
talking about performance and who writes the performance review.
And there is
Do you follow my question?
I follow it, but I think it's clear in contract law that if you sign a contract with
I'm not an
someone
attorney, that's why I'm asking you.
and they're not doing something that is violative from a legal standpoint or stepping outside their authority under the contract, they're entitled to their pay for the 3 years. When you fire the field manager for the Boston Braves, he continues.
Jesus, you really are showing your age.
Well,
I
I
know.
know.
Boston
Mother of
Braves.
God.
He-
Boston
I
Braves.
was like,
she-
did I miss a team somewhere?
What you're all missing.
Okay,
Can I-
well,
Can I get
Okay.
at your, what you're missing is section 4 that talks about the removal of the town administrator.
page,
Page 4, it says, the section is called evaluation.
Page
It says-
4?
Page
No,
four.
it says page
Section
9,
4.
section 7,
Yeah,
evaluation.
right.
It says the select board every year shall evaluate.
Right.
That hasn't been happening, has it?
okay,
No.
what has been happening?
I'm looking at you. Wait a minute, I'm not finished. There's also a rather long
Right.
dissertation on
Right.
how the select board may remove
Right.
the town administrator.
Right.
I think we don't really have an answer to this question until we can take a contract that's been signed and this portion of the charter and see how they play against each other. And I'm not at all sure that any contract has been written that actually includes this possibility. I don't know, I haven't
Yeah.
seen it. But I don't think we can continue to have this discussion without having that discussion.
I believe I do have the prior town administrator's
Well, I think
contract.
it's on the website somewhere, but I don't,
I mean-
this is a
Okay,
question that's
but
always stuck in my
contract-
mind,
all
is
right.
contract versus charter petition.
Okay,
Charter
but the
petition.
contract of the town administrator is not the topic on the table. So regardless of whether it was written for Mickey Mouse or not,
Are we not considering section 4 as well?
we are right, well, the topic that's on the table is specifically appointment and supervision. That's got nothing to do with the contract.
No, but you
Well,
can't
it-
really discuss hiring and supervision as a separate select board only discussion. The two are very much intertwined.
Yes, they are,
so
but we're still looking at the select board. The select board appoints these positions. Do those positions then get supervised by the town administrator or not?
Well, according to the charter, they do.
I don't think it says that. So I'm asking the question, how do you want this to read?
It says,
431 on page C7. Duties, 431.
Yep,
Town administrator shall be the chief administrative officer for the town, shall be responsible for administering and coordinating all employees' activities and departments placed by general law, this charter, under the control of the select board and the town administrator. So, here's the thing. What does administering mean? Does it mean reporting? Does it mean oversight? What does administering mean?
does it mean personnel review?
What does it mean?
Responsibility.
Okay, so
Responsibility
so that
for-
responsibility, does that mean, and again, because it's so nebulous, does it mean, well, when the select board hires a police chief, that I have got the oversight, the responsibility for that police chief?
Yes.
Meaning select board.
Select board. Is it select board or the town administrator? Who has got the responsibility for that person?
Here it reads to me that.
It's pretty
that-
clear.
Yeah, the
Okay.
town administrator does.
Forget about what the words say in the charter right now for a few minutes. How would you, what is the concept that we want to put into words? That's what I'm trying to get to, and everybody's
All
going
things
back.
It's fine, as is.
I
You
don't,
think
well,
it's
I'm
fine?
just saying, I believe there is a broad consensus here.
I'm
that-
not sure there is.
Not by me.
Not by me.
No, not by two people, at least 3 people. What's that?
That's still a consensus.
He has no vote, so it doesn't matter.
But can he?
What do you want them to do? You want the select board to appoint and oversee everybody?
And review and hold the
Oh,
town
Richard.
administrator accountable.
you know what we need?
Well, they were.
You know what we
that's-
need right now? Well, not right now, but maybe for our next meeting or the meeting after, we need to invite our current acting town administrator, who has been a town administrator in 2 other towns, to help us with this conversation.
Second the motion.
Madam Chair,
It
point
wasn't
of
a,
order.
it wasn't a motion
Yeah,
or
it
a
was.
vote.
Yeah.
Okay,
That
I
was
don't
a
expect,
motion.
I don't accept the motion.
A
So,
member of the public would like to have some input. I think we're looking for
well,
input.
we
Now's
have
a good
asked,
time.
we have asked the select board. I'm not sure it's particularly fair to ask a member of the select board how he would like his board to be.
Nobody wanted to say something.
Do you? You want to say something?
That is definitely not where I'm going, and I respect that, Madam Chair, and if I'm stepping across a line, just say stop. You and I have had some good conversations
Yes,
on
we
the
have.
phone about this. All I would like to bring up is, while you're deliberating, think about how the structure works on a day-to-day basis with everything that's happening in real time in town hall. And if you, if that's, if you can wrap your arms around that, it may bring some clarity as to, you know, I get 5 phone calls from somebody about this. It's not getting done. Now I have to call somebody. I don't have direct access. Like, you're talking about hiring or appointing. You're talking about termination. You're talking about oversight. You're talking about reviews. But the one thing that hasn't been discussed concretely is access. And if you go back to how your discussion has revolved around fire chief, police chief, finance director, what does the select board hear or read or interpret the charter to say? In my 2.5 years, and I'm not speaking for myself or my board, I'm just gonna tell you what I've been hearing, which is, well, we have access to that. Where we don't have access to DPW, we don't have access to, you know, other department heads. But the board feels like it has access, per the charter, to the fire chief, the police chief, and the finance director. To Sandy's point, which is a good one, does the board, should the board have direct access to the finance director? And not by way of town administrator, which is how the select board would have to get access to the DPW director, per the charter. So access is something you need to consider as well, in my opinion.
Thank you, because I think that's a good point, because you and I have had some conversations about.
It's blurry at best.
It is blurry in
And
here.
it leads to a lot of confusion
Yes, it
Well,
does.
the one that's
in
really,
real time.
one that's really blurry is the dual access between town administrator and select board for a personnel director. What does that mean? 'Cause that's how we,
Your HR,
human resources.
yeah, I would agree with that.
Same issue.
I
I
mean,
would
how
agree
does
with
that
that.
even work?
Well,
It doesn't.
well, it hasn't
It
had
doesn't.
to work yet.
Right,
We haven't tested it yet,
right.
right? So we don't know if it works or it doesn't. I believe the spirit of what we were trying to accommodate or achieve was good. I believe the spirit was good. In a private business, you have an HR director who is over in a whole nother office and doesn't deal with anybody except for the employee.
Thank you.
So
Yes.
this is a different org situation, a different hiring, appointing, firing situation, different.
So I'm gonna go back to, regardless of what section, and a sentence here and a sentence there. What is the general, how do we feel about the select board still hiring, appointing these people, but putting in very specific words that these these department heads that are being appointed by a select board report day to day to the town administrator? At some point in the charter, putting in words that the select board, because I think we've talked about the access issue. Because when I sat on the board, we had access to people. If we wanted to talk to the DPW director, we said, Link, show up. And this is the topic to be discussed. So do we have to have, I think access is an issue. do we need to put into the charter somewhere, select board, regardless of who reports to whom, the select board can ask a department head, any department head, to come in and discuss specific topics.
We need to change the prohibition that states.
Yes.
What you're talking
So-
about
So we
states in
would, so we would say
371.
that there's a, is
Right.
there a general agreement that the select board should be able to ask department heads to come in to the select board in public meeting and duly noticed and all that good stuff, and talk about specific topics?
Sure,
Do we agree?
That's fine, access, but it doesn't change the discussion of
No, it does not.
who hires,
And
who's
who
responsible,
supervises.
who reviews. Again, so access is great. Does anyone disagree?
Hang on, does anybody disagree with the adding words of access?
So then we need to change 371, just.
Okay,
as a
whatever,
point,
I don't care
correct.
what the section
Okay.
is, but access.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, and thank you again. The path of access needs to be spelled out
Yes.
versus 5 select board members calling 5 department
Right.
heads saying, you need to come to the meeting. It can't work that way.
Absolutely.
It needs to
I,
go through the TA, in my opinion.
I think, yes, I think you asked the town administrator, we would like to have, at the meeting of July 92, we would like to have this department in to talk about this topic, person shows up. Absolutely, I don't think you should be directly, but you should have the ability to say, I would like this person here.
Okay, as a
So
practical-
define the path.
As a practical matter, I'm chairman of the select board, and I'm sitting down with the staff to write an agenda. And the agenda is such that we need to take care of this week. I need to make sure the DPW director is gonna be at that meeting. So the select
point.
board should need to, I would say, at least give the chair the authority to request from the administrator whomever would be needed for a particular agenda item, because it may not be able to wait 2 weeks to get the board to vote, to ask the town administrator to invite.
Yeah,
Joe,
that just makes,
highway
that makes
director.
common sense.
Well, it might, but common sense is not always.
I know, but I think
applied
that's,
to these
and I think
situations.
that can be done, if you're responsible for the meeting, and you're the presiding officer of the meeting, which is the chair or the vice chair, and you want someone there, town administrator, I would like the DPW director or the assistant at our meeting next week.
And I think part of
Where does
that,
the chair derive that authority?
We need to write it in if that's
we
the
need to
case.
write that in.
Right.
I think it's
That's
called,
under access.
I think
That's-
Jeff said very clearly, path of access,
Right.
which I also wrote down who and how.
If he doesn't speak, he's gonna have a car.
I know he's going to, and I'm waiting for
I'm
it.
thinking as everybody's talking.
It's
um,
hard to get an Italian to be quiet.
One of the things that I want to make sure is clear though, is as we give more duties, and I use the word duties, to the town administrator, that doesn't take responsibility from the select board. As a matter of fact, it might be structured that the select board has more responsibility and less duties.
Keep
Think
it-
about that.
Okay. I mean, I know there's been the comments made that the people elect the select board, but once the select board are in office, they're in office for 3 years. Staggered terms, but 3 years. It's not like in order to get a select board member off is a hoop-de-doo of a recall. So it's not like, so the public can recall, but it happens very rarely. Because it's a big effort, as Sandy well knows, to collect signatures to get something done.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm still back to, where are we? I'm trying to bring this back to,
My vote is that there's 2 people that hire. That's the citizens through the vote, and the town administrator is the hiring body and the responsible body for those.
the citizens don't hire anybody, they only
Well,
hire the select
They
board.
they
Oh.
could hire the planning board if we so decided, as other towns do.
Okay,
Well,
we're not in there
I
yet.
understand, but that's, I want to make.
Focus.
That's why I said, okay. Yes, ma'am.
Focus.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't be yelling at my friend.
I
I
yell at
Thank
him
you,
all
sir.
the time. I'm trying to get people to focus on the issue. Richard,
Do you want
She's
something in
half
the way?
Italian. On the other hand.
Richard,
When you're looking at powers of appointment, what I'm looking at, and is my opinion as one of 9 members,
the select board should have the right to appoint a town administrator, town council, assessors, members of the board of registrars, elections officers, and constables.
Okay,
I think it should be that the finance director, police chief, and fire chief should be hired by the town administrator, who then has the responsibility to oversee the day-to-day operation of those people, making them available through access to the select board. And I've heard this over the years from different members of the board. Well, you hired so-so. Well, I want to see the rest of the applications. I want to see the rest of the resumes. No, that's not your job. That's right. You have, and we're in the midst of it now. We're going to go through a town administrative search with, GRU Associates, and a selection committee is going to be brought together to vet some of those applications out. There's a process for things. I think, and I haven't seen, I've asked the question, that although people are hired as a finance director, as a police chief, and a fire chief, they have not been reviewed by the hiring authority.
Do we know that?
I asked, and the answer was they have not done it.
No, I'm talking about the hiring authority, but the
Select board.
day-to-day oversight is the town administrator.
And he's
Has the
not
town
doing it either.
administrator conducted reviews?
and he's not doing it either,
So
or has not.
that's my thought. That's what I would like to see under the powers of appointment. And basically it comes down to, yes, you have a strong TA, but you're supposed to have a strong board that oversees the town administrator. And if the town administrator is not doing the job, then the select board have a responsibility and a fiduciary to my vote to be doing that. And if they're not, damn it, start doing it. Because that next election will come around and you'll be held accountable. That's where your accountability comes in.
You may be held accountable.
Right.
You may not.
Well,
Depends how well it's all brought to the
I would
table at
disagree.
that
I see no reason to change the appointing authorities. I think you need to clarify the day-to-day and the reviewing authority.
Right.
I don't see the need to change the appointing authority.
That's where we shall
Okay.
respectfully
Disagree.
disagree.
Yeah.
all right, then this sounds like, because I'm hearing that there's kind of a split. I think there is general agreement that there needs to be clarification on, regardless of who appoints, who does the supervisory review process, that does need to be clarified. That if the select board appoints the fire chief then reports to the TA, or something like that. So, I think,
Which I think in effect is actually what happened with me as far as the reporting is concerned. They talk to each other. They may not like each other, but they talk to each other.
so, I mean.
Where's
well,
the accountability?
where is
Well,
the
that's what I'm saying.
accountability?
That's fine. The accountability, we can build into this with the day-to-day and the review process. I just see no reason to change, and I'm not sure that making that change just as a general PR question might not meet with a fair amount of resistance out there in the larger world. And you know what I'm talking about.
The
Well-
material, as far as I'm concerned. I think it's,
You
no.
want a charter to pass?
No, I
Changes
get
you
that,
wanna
but
make?
I think the reality is, everything is open for discussion at this point.
Sure.
And we're at that point of having that discussion. Day one, what do we see for this community? And we want a charter that is clear, that is followed, that does not have 10 pages of definitions because shall not normally, phrases that just should not be in a charter. No disrespect to the previous Charter Commission, but we need to clear that.
We gotta I call it taking the wiggle room out.
Yes.
May-
Also understand, there was a complete rewrite of this back in
8 or something, 2008.
2008. There was a bylaw charter.
So
review
that was the
committee.
group who did it then, it wasn't you guys.
A lot of these things that you're having trouble with, not all, I
Mm.
mean, there's.
Yeah, 2006, I think.
2006,
Mm.
but some of the things that you're having trouble with were done at that time.
Mhm.
And I will admit I wasn't paying attention until looking at it again later to see that there were some things that had been changed that seemed a little inexplicable to me at that point. But, you know,
Okay.
when you're not part of the process, you don't complain.
Okay, what I am gonna suggest, because I know that Judith has to leave by 7:45. is this sounds like an area to ask the Collins people to give us some advice. Because I think we're split. I think we have a general agreement that we've got to have clarity and be very specific. I think that that's clear.
Very clear.
John?
Say something, I am responsible for Chatham with the charter. I like to read what Chatham's charter says. I think it's a good one. Except as otherwise provided by this charter, the town manager, they call them the administrative manager there, the town manager shall appoint based on merit and fitness alone, and may remove all department heads, assistant department heads, officers, subordinates, employees serving under elected and appointed boards, commissions, committees, and employees for whom no other method of selection and removal is provided in this chapter, except employees of the housing authority.
Because they're elected.
The appointment of the department head by the town manager shall become effective on the 15th day following the day of which the notice of the proposed appointment is filed with the select board, unless the select board shall, within such period, by majority vote of the full select board, vote to reject such appointment.
Yep.
So you're giving the town manager the discretion to hire
Everybody.
everybody with the approval of the select board, or to reject or approve. And they don't even have to approve it. If they don't approve it, it passes. They can reject that hire.
And
Because right now we're splitting it, we're making a mess of this thing here.
we are, and we may
A
be.
real mess.
There is provision within this charter that whatever the town administrator is appointing in terms of department heads, that they have the same time frame or a similar time frame to say, no, we're not going to let you do that, or it stands. So we do have the same wording. But I think the crux does come down to, do you want the town administrator to appoint all these people, probably except for the board of registrars and election people,
And those damn assessors.
and those damn assessors? Or do you want that to be the select board, or do you want it to be the town administrator? And I think we're split on that. So it sounds like a good research question, advice from the Collins people.
And everybody look at their own towns.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, Sandy, is we should all look at all of the towns to see, but the folks from Collins will have far greater experience with many, many, many towns.
Right.
And they may have reasons that this ignorant person may not have any clue why it's important that the select board hire certain people versus the TA. So I think it's a great opportunity to start our consultation contract.
I think it is. I think it's a big one.
One small point,
Yes,
because
sir.
you bring up something that I've been wanting to get to. On the period of time the select board has to reject an appointment, generally.
Yeah.
It says 15 days. It doesn't specify whether those are working days or
Mhm.
calendar days. And given that the boards meet generally once a week, I think we should specify that those would be working days.
Yes, that's one of those,
That's the clarity issue.
that's one of
That's a
those,
clarity issue.
that's one of those,
Because that has been an issue.
Yeah. No,
one
I
of those
agree.
nits that we have to take, because another nit is, throughout this charter, blah, 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 according to these bylaws, Mass General Law, the charter. Blah, 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 something has to happen, Mass General Law, this charter, the bylaws. It's in here in different ways. We asked on the Bylaw Charter Review Committee to have a legal opinion as to what has to be the first one. Regardless of what we think, what's the legal answer? Haven't gotten that yet. So I think that's, I'm gonna call, that's I think, is it calendar or business day, is it business days or calendar days? Which is the order of master, because it's in here in different ways.
Well, for our purposes, the charter is the governing document.
Yes,
Over the bylaws. above the
Above
bylaws.
the
Yes.
Bylaws, but
And it
the
can be
Massachusetts general laws
Well, it
Over
can- it
everything.
can
are
be.
over
It-
the charter,
it-
and the Constitution of the Commonwealth is over the Mass general laws. That's the order. I mean, I don't think there's a doubt,
For
really,
purposes,
with all due
for purposes
respect.
of our town, the charter is one, because when you've gotten your charter written and passed, it's gone to the Attorney General, so it's
Right.
presumed that it is not in conflict with Mass General laws or the Constitution. And there are also some things the charter can do differently than Mass General laws, which is kind of the point of having a charter in the first place.
No, I disagree with you on
Well,
that.
we'll ask the
Okay.
question.
We're gonna ask the question, because I'm putting that under, there's gonna be an answer to it that is gonna solve the issue, one way or t'other.
Depends
So,
on who you get the answer from.
well-
Yeah, I think we need to hash out a little more in here too, on that issue.
which issue?
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
As you're convening action steps for
Next week.
3 people looking at that contract, hopefully with the next meet, so that we can move forward, because your consultation cannot begin until the contract is signed.
Absolutely.
So can we get, for certain, those action steps established? Are you, the 3 of you, gonna be able to get together?
Yes. Well, we have to get the contract
Oh, no, it's
first.
fine.
And then,
Didn't we get it?
no, we got a proposal.
No, but I thought there was one in the email this morning. or this
Whose
afternoon.
email? I didn't see one.
So it's been that kind of a day.
Check with Tony, see if it's in the email.
Miss Tony should have, if it's there, she should have sent it to me. Thank you.
Is this a preseason game tonight?
Yes, last one.
Any other action steps? Because this is a prolonged discussion.
So we 3 gonna have a look at the contract. Are we going to, then if it all looks good, authorize Linda to sign the contract?
Absolutely. I think we,
Do we have that
Right.
motion?
do you need as a motion, fine.
Yeah, I think you do. Motion
Although the
to have
3 of
Lou-
you looking it over?
Who's looking at the contract?
So it's Lou, Linda, and me.
God, is that a dangerous triumph?
Tell
That's-
you
oh,
what, review the contract and authorize the chair to sign it,
Make it a motion.
Second.
assuming that there is no objection to
So-
any part. Yeah, that is
So
a
the,
motion.
so the motion on the floor is that there is a review committee of Lou and Sandy and Linda to review the contract, and if we're satisfied, for the chair to sign said contract. That is the motion. Was there a second?
Yes.
Herb? Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Now I'm
Once
gonna have
you
to.
sign it, go to them for that first
That's
discussion.
gonna be, now, I'm gonna have to check to see, because we now have an authorized subcommittee. We have to post the meeting and the agenda to review said contract.
Even though there's not a quorum?
Doesn't have to be a quorum, it's an authorized subcommittee. For example,
Well, now, if
the,
it's-
the
if it-
select board has an interview subcommittee, it's only 2, that's not a quorum. But because it's an authorized committee, they post their agendas and their meetings, and they have minutes.
So you may not be ready for next Thursday.
I don't think we'll be ready for next
Should we
Thursday.
then,
We'll make only 2 people.
should
Cut
we,
it down so.
doesn't matter, it's still, it's a
Doesn't matter,
subcommittee.
it's still authorized.
Right.
Well, an ad hoc committee.
Yeah.
How about just authorize 3 people to review the contract and report back to the chair with any concerns? I would like to.
So you would like to,
Motion to rescind the previous vote.
Second.
Rescind a second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, that motion is rescinded.
So
There's a new
Lou-
motion.
With the knowledge that if there are concerns, it is brought back to committee.
Motion to task Linda, Lou, Sandy with reviewing the contract and reporting any issues they may have back to the chair for her further action or signature if all looks
Second.
proper.
Report to the chair with issues.
Do you want to come back to the whole committee before Linda signs it?
No, but if you have concerns, I would like it to come back to committee.
The chair.
If you have concerns about, to chair and to committee.
Okay.
Yep,
So if the 3 of you
absolutely.
look at it and both of you say,
Well, then Linda-
hey, we got some issues here, well, let's bring it back.
Linda will bring it back.
Yeah.
then. Okay,
So,
that's what I said.
so the motion is to task
Don't
Linda
sleep,
Luce.
Jeff. Wake up.
Oh, I'm here.
Motion, he's busy watching cat videos.
Oh.
Motion to task Linda, Lou, and Sandy with the review of this contract. Actually, it's tasking Lou and Sandy.
Mhm.
Report to the chair, who's Linda, if there are any issues, and then authorizing the chair to sign.
If there are none, otherwise to bring it back to the full board.
But you don't have to post a meeting or anything?
No,
We're not gonna be
We're
meeting.
not, we're just
We
reviewing
can each
individual.
Oh, individual.
We
Oh,
can
see.
each review
Okay,
it
understand.
individually
Yeah,
and
I
let Linda
thought you
know.
were
So,
trying to do that.
that's
Okay.
what's on the floor. Was there a second?
The original
Second.
intent.
Richard is a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, done. Now, keep thinking about, I think we should, next week, we should continue on with this as to how, get to the town administrator, as to how we want the town administrator to function, which is a chapter, really focusing more on chapter 4, or do we have more stuff to talk about on the select board?
Well, we had a major one,
Yeah, we need to stay on that.
major one on select board.
Got it.
Initial discussion was number,
Yes, all
5 or
right.
7.
So
We
next
never
week,
came to an agreement on that.
And I
We-
also think we need to continue discussing what we were discussing right here, which is who has the
well,
responsibility.
we're gonna stop. We're not
That-
gonna continue that. We're gonna, because we're split on that, we're gonna get some advice from the Collins people and then bring it back. And what is their advice, and see if we can come to some kind of
And also
consensus.
task everybody with taking a look at the charters of the towns they've been
Yeah, no,
assigned to
that's
review
a
to see
great
what
point.
they-
Yeah, that's a really good point.
See what the consensus might, and even maybe take a look at some other towns, just for
Yeah, take a look.
giggles.
What do they do? Take a look at other towns specifically,
Yeah.
the way John did.
Yeah, and John,
as
that
to-
was helpful.
As to just who, and answer the question in your specific towns, who appoints, who supervises? And see if we can get those 2 answers and see what we can come up with. All right,
good
motion to
advice.
adjourn.
So moved.
I'll make it.
Lou,
Late.
Mates,
Grazie.
Second.
No Mont Blanc?
well, I recognized him.
She
Herb
recognized me.
is a second.
Yes.
All those in favor?
Governor Romney.
All right, 7:52. Would you push that little button, Richard?